It's 6:40 in the evening. You're sitting on a second-hand couch in Portland. The delivery app is open on your phone. The screen has a crack running from corner to corner. You've had it for 2 years. Your thumb is hovering over the order button. $22 for a burrito bowl. You just finished watching a finance video. Some guy your age talking about compound interest like it's a secret. You open your banking app instead. $47,231. You look at it the way you'd check the weather. Quick. Almost bored. Then you close the delivery app. No burrito. It started 3 years ago in a different apartment with a card that got declined at a movie theater. You just graduated. You work at a vet clinic during the day, restraining nervous dogs while a doctor draws blood. Some nights you close at a coffee shop for extra cash. Your apartment has 3 roommates you found in a group chat. Nobody's names match their profile pictures. Rent is $710, split 3 ways. It's still a lot on what you make. Friday night, you're at the movies with your roommates. You swipe your card, declined. You swipe again, declined again. The cashier waits. The line behind you waits. You do math in your head that won't finish fast enough. Later you find out why. A $34 overdraft fee from a streaming subscription you forgot to cancel 4 months ago. $4 turned into $34. That's not inflation. That's just how the fee works. You go home and open your banking app at midnight. You scroll through every charge for the last 3 months. 2 subscriptions you don't remember signing up for. A recurring charge for an app you deleted in March. This is the first real lesson, and nobody teaches it in school. Overdraft fees don't care about the size of the mistake. They only care that you crossed the line. $4 costs the same penalty as $400. That same week, you're scrolling before bed. A video plays. Someone your exact age standing in front of a screen that shows $50,000 in a retirement account. You watch for 11 seconds. You close the app. You feel something, and it's not motivation. It's the sense that you're already behind in a race you didn't know had started. The internet doesn't show you the years, just the number at the end of them. You start cooking more. Not because you read an article, because you did the math on delivery apps and it scared you a little. You set up an automatic transfer, $25 every Friday, straight into a savings account you can't see from your checking app's home screen. Out of sight actually works. You didn't expect that. At work, a coworker named Talia catches you in the parking lot after a shift. She's a few years older, drives a car with 200,000 miles on it and doesn't seem to care. She asks if you're contributing to the 401k. You say you didn't even know you had one. She explains it standing next to her car, keys in hand. The company matches 3%. If you put in 3%, they put in 3%. Free money, she says. Actual free money. You don't fully understand it that night. You increase your contribution anyway. Your friends plan a weekend trip, cabin 6 people split cost. You say no, not dramatically. You just don't go. Nobody claps for this. Nobody notices. You go home Friday night and eat pasta you made yourself, and it's fine. It's just fine. That's the whole feeling. Not sad, not proud, just fine. You don't know it yet, but the habit will end up mattering more than the $25 ever could. You buy a couch. Second-hand furniture only gets you so far. This one has a tear in the cushion you're tired of hiding with a blanket, and you're done pretending it's a design choice. The store has a payment plan. A sign by the register says 0% interest for 12 months. Sign here, the guy says, sliding a tablet across the counter. You sign. You don't read past the first paragraph. Nobody reads past the first paragraph. $420, $35 a month. Easy. You forget about it almost immediately, the way you forget about anything that runs on autopilot. Then month 13 hits. A different number shows up on your statement. You stare at it for a second, waiting for it to make sense on its own. It doesn't. You call the store. A woman explains it slowly, like she said it 100 times this week alone. This particular plan, she says, was never actually 0%. It was deferred interest, a specific kind of promotion different from a real 0% loan. The interest was building the whole time, quietly, and it only gets waived if you pay off the entire balance before the 12 months end. You didn't. So now it gets applied backward, retroactively, to the whole original amount, not just what was left. Roughly $90, she says, on $420, backdated a full year. You ask if every payment plan works like this. She says no. Some furniture stores really do offer true 0%, no catch. This one didn't. That's the part that gets you, more than the money. You didn't check which kind you signed up for. You tell Talia about it at work, half expecting her to laugh. She doesn't. She says she did almost the exact same thing with a mattress 2 years ago. Same store, different couch, same 12 months, same sentence buried in paragraph 4. Everybody does it once, she says. The trick is only doing it once. After that, you read every payment plan before you sign. Every paragraph. Even the ones that look like they don't matter. A mistake at 23 costs you about $90. The same mistake at 33 costs you $900. Same fine print, bigger numbers. That's the only thing that ever changes. Your old roommate, Jordan, buys a house. Not because Jordan makes more money than you. Jordan's parents covered the down payment, and Jordan doesn't hide that part, which you respect, even if it makes the whole thing sting a little more. You find out over text. Jordan sends a photo of the front door with a key in the lock, sunlight hitting the porch at some angle that makes it look like a magazine ad. You type, "Congrats!" with 2 exclamation points. The way you do when you mean it, but also need it to look bigger than it feels. You set the phone down. You don't feel jealous, exactly. You've tried naming the feeling a few times, and none of the words fit right. Here's the part nobody talks about. Not your friends, not the finance videos, not anyone. You're not poor enough to complain to the friends who are still carrying credit card balances every month. You bring up money, and it lands wrong, like you're bragging by accident, and you're not rich enough to celebrate anything with people who are actually building wealth, the ones with down payments and portfolios and family money behind them. You just sit in the middle. Quiet in both directions. Nobody to compare notes with, because comparing notes assumes somebody's standing where you are. That same week, almost as a distraction from the Jordan thing, you finally look into a high-yield savings account. You'd seen the ads for months and ignored them. The rate that week is 4.5%, the kind of number that moves depending on what the broader economy is doing, though you don't fully understand that part yet. Your regular bank, the one you've had since you were 18, gives you 0.01%, and that part doesn't seem to move at all, no matter what year it is. You do the math on paper, actual paper, because it doesn't feel real until you see it written by hand. $2,000 sitting in your regular savings earns you about 20 cents a year. The same $2,000 in the high-yield account at this rate earns closer to $90. The rate might be different next year. The gap between the two banks probably won't be. You open the account and move your emergency fund over. The transfer takes 3 days to verify. Nobody calls to check in during those 3 days. Nobody sends a welcome email with a person's name attached to it. It's not cold, exactly. It's just automatic. A system doing what it's built to do. And nothing more than that. You think about the $34 overdraft fee from 2 years ago, the one that started all of this. It's sitting in this account now, along with everything else. Same kind of dollar, different job to do. Nobody warns you that the loneliest part of building something isn't failing at it. It's doing fine at it, quietly, with no one standing at your exact same distance from the start. Your investment account falls 19% over a few months, not all at once. That would almost be easier. It's a slow bleed, a little worse every time you check, and you check more than you'd like to admit. You watch a number that used to feel solid turn soft. $6,200, gone on paper, in the space of a bad season for the market. You didn't do anything wrong. You know that, technically. Knowing it doesn't make the number hurt less. One night you actually pick up your phone and dial your bank. You're going to move everything into cash. You've decided. The hold music starts, tinny and looping, the same 4 bars over and over. You sit there for 40 seconds staring at the ceiling, phone against your ear. Then you hang up. You don't call back that night. Or the next one. Instead, you let the automatic transfer run, the same way it's run every week since Talia explained the 401k in that parking lot. $25, then $50, then more as your paycheck grew a little each year. The transfer doesn't know the market is down. It doesn't check the news first. It just moves the money on schedule into a fund that's technically worth less per share than it was a month ago. Which means if you actually think about it, you're buying more shares for the same money. Nobody explains this part in a way that feels good in the moment. It sounds smart on a whiteboard. It feels terrible in your stomach. A guy from your gym mentions he pulled everything out and moved it to cash the same week the market bottomed. He seems relieved when he says it. You don't correct him. It's not your place, and besides, you're not totally sure you wouldn't have done the same thing 18 months ago. Eventually, the market recovers. Nobody can tell you exactly when it will. And you didn't know it would take this particular stretch of months either. When it does, your account is back where it was, plus a little more, mostly because you never stopped buying on the way down. And some of those shares were cheaper than what you already owned. You know, this isn't a guarantee. You know, some stretches don't come back this fast or this cleanly, and that this time it did doesn't mean it always will. You don't feel triumphant about it. You just feel like something that was supposed to be scary turned out to be survivable this time, which is a smaller kind of relief than make it sound like on finance videos, but it's real. Discipline isn't a feeling. It's the thing you do instead of the feeling, on the exact nights when the feeling is loudest. Which brings you back to where this whole thing started. The couch. The delivery app open, the burrito bowl still just an idea on a screen, the crack running corner to corner across your phone, the same crack that's been there for 2 years, through every level you just lived. You could afford a new phone tonight. You could afford 10 of them, honestly, without thinking twice. You just haven't bothered, and somewhere along the way not bothering stopped feeling like deprivation, and started feeling like nothing at all. A credit card offer shows up in your email that week. An actual rewards card. Not the secured kind you needed back at 22 when your credit was thin. 2% cashback. No annual fee. Proof in an inbox that something moved. Your friend Reese leases a new car every 2 years. Nice car, the kind that turns heads in the clinic parking lot. Reese seems happy about it, genuinely, not performing it for anyone. It's not fake happiness. It's just a specific kind of happy that needs the next paycheck to show up exactly on time, every single time, for as long as the lease runs. Someone at the dog park calls you old money once, half joking, nodding at the beat-up car, the same 3 shirts you rotate every week. You laugh it off the way you laugh off most things about money. But it stays with you the rest of the walk. Old money was never about the number. It's about never needing anyone to guess it. You open your banking app one more time before you close everything for the night. $47,231. You could order the burrito. You could order 10 of them. That was never actually the question. The question was whether you'd let a Tuesday night decide something for you without you noticing it happening. 3 years ago, a declined card decided things for you, whether you liked it or not. Tonight, you're the one deciding, and the decision happens to look like not ordering food, but it could just as easily have gone the other way. It almost did. You closed the delivery app for real this time. No burrito, not because you couldn't afford it, because you noticed yourself about to let the evening decide, and you'd rather be the one doing that. You're not richer than Reese. You just know exactly where every dollar is standing at any given moment, and that turns out to be its own kind of wealth. Time moves forward here, past the couch, past the crack in the screen, into a version of you that hasn't happened yet, but is close enough to see clearly if you squint. You start picking up weekend pet sitting gigs through an app, the kind that connects people going out of town with someone who'll water their plants and not let their cat starve out of spite. Nothing glamorous about it. You spend Saturday mornings letting yourself into strangers' apartments with a code texted to your phone, feeding fish you'll never see again, walking dogs that don't know your name yet and don't need to. It brings in about $400 a month, give or take some months less, when nobody in the city seems to be traveling. Some months more, around the holidays, when everyone suddenly needs someone reliable. You open a separate brokerage account for it. Not mixed in with the retirement money, not folded into the emergency fund sitting in the high-yield account. Its own account, its own login, its own purpose. Reese asks about it one night, genuinely curious, not judging. "Why don't you just spend the extra money?" Reese says. "Treat yourself. You worked for it." You don't have a clever answer ready. You just say you don't really think about it that way anymore, and even as you say it, you're aware it's not a satisfying thing to hear. Reese nods anyway, the way people do when they've decided not to push further. You think back to Talia in the parking lot 3 years earlier now, explaining free money you didn't understand yet. You wonder if this is what she meant by it sticking, eventually, without you noticing exactly when it stuck. The skill was never how much you made. It was what you let yourself get used to, one ordinary paycheck at a time. '28 comes with a bad month first, not a good one. The old Honda finally gives out on a Tuesday, transmission gone, the mechanic's estimate higher than the car is even worth. You pull $2,200 out of the brokerage account you opened for the pet sitting money, the one you swore you'd never touch. You touch it. That's what emergency money is for, technically, even the kind you'd rather pretend you'll never need. You feel a version of the old panic for about a day. Not the 22-year-old panic, the one where a declined card at a movie theater felt like the end of something. A smaller version. Annoying, not frightening. You replace the car with a used one, cash, and you're back to contributing the same amount within 2 months. Nobody warns you that doing well with money doesn't mean nothing bad happens anymore. It just means the bad things take you all the way back to zero. By 30, the accounts have grown the slow way. Not dramatically, just consistently. The same $25 a week from 3 years ago, grown into 80, then into more once a raise came through, plus the pet sitting money that never learned your address long enough to spend. One ordinary Tuesday, checking the app between appointments, you notice the investments earned more last quarter than they usually do. Not a month of salary. Not close to it. Enough that you actually notice, though. Enough that it feels like a second, smaller paycheck showed up on its own. Around the same time, your clinic offers you a promotion. Manager. More money, more hours, weekend calls that follow you home. You don't say no right away, and you don't say yes right away either. You sit with it for a week, longer than you expect to need. Part of you wants the title. Part of you does the math and notices the raise, after taxes, isn't actually that much more than what you're already keeping now, once you factor in the extra hours it would cost. But the math isn't really what decides it. What decides it is picturing the version of you who takes the promotion and stops having Tuesday nights like this one, quiet, on the same couch, nothing urgent pulling at you. You ask if the role can be part-time or shared with someone else. Your manager says she'll look into it. She doesn't say yes. She doesn't say no either. You don't get a clean answer that week. You go back to your regular job on Monday. Still not a manager. Still driving a car you bought with cash. Still working through a decision that hasn't fully resolved itself. The phone in your pocket still has a crack across the screen. Nobody's handed you a finish line. You're just still walking toward whatever this is. The delivery app is closed. The burrito's still just an idea, the way it's been an idea every night this happened, going back 3 years now, further than you usually let yourself count. Your phone still has a crack running corner to corner. You're still not fixing it. Not because you can't. Just because you never decided it mattered enough to interrupt anything. You didn't get here through one big decision. There was no single Tuesday where everything changed. No dramatic scene you could point to later and say that's when it happened. There was a declined card at a movie theater and a $34 fee that felt bigger than it was. There was a parking lot conversation about free money you didn't fully understand at the time. There was a couch with fine print you didn't read the first time and always read after. There was a hold music phone call you hung up before anyone answered, and a promotion you didn't fully take, and a car that broke down anyway, right on schedule with nothing else in your life. Small things. Repeated mostly without noticing, over and over, on nights nobody was watching, and nothing felt like it was happening at all. Nobody clapped for any of it. Nobody posted about it. There was no video of you at 22, standing in front of a screen showing $50,000, the kind of video that started this whole thing 3 years ago. The crack in the screen never got fixed. Some things you just decide not to spend on once the deciding stops feeling like a decision. That's the whole story. Said a different way,